You've explained yourself 1,000 times today. To your boss, to a friend, to nobody at all. Every single explanation arrived after the decision. You bought the thing you didn't need. You said yes when everything inside you said no. You laughed at a joke that wasn't funny because everyone else did, and you weren't confused in the moment. You were confident. The reasons only fell apart later. You're not irrational. You're running software written a very long time ago, for a very different world. Most of what you do is decided somewhere quiet and old, and then your talking mind writes a clean explanation on top. Imagine holding a steering wheel that isn't connected to anything. The car turns. You explain why you turned. Let's open the hood. 1. You are built to copy people. Social proof before your brain asks, is this correct? It asks, what is everyone else doing? A comedy show with a laugh track. You know it's fake. You still laugh more. The usual explanation is evolutionary. The ancestors who copied the group survived. Neat story. Can't be tested. Hold it loosely. Here's what was tested. In the 1950s, Solomon Asch sat people at a table with strangers and showed them 2 lines, one obviously longer. Alone, almost nobody gets it wrong. But the strangers were actors, instructed to give the same wrong answer out loud, one after another. 3/4 of real participants caved at least once, looked at the lines, saw the truth plainly, and said the wrong thing anyway. Afterwards, most of them said they knew. They just didn't want to be the only one holding it. The pull isn't towards being right. It's towards not being alone. 2. Your mind protects your story about yourself. Cognitive dissonance. When your actions and your self-image don't match, you rarely change the actions. You change the story. And it's stronger the less you were forced. Festinger's version, pay someone well to say something they don't believe, and afterwards they still don't believe it. They had a reason, the money. Pay them almost nothing to say the same thing, and they start to actually believe it. With no reason on the outside, the mind builds one on the inside. Notice how specific that is. The story doesn't get rewritten when you're caught. It gets rewritten when you can't blame anything else. Give the mind an excuse, and it takes it gladly. Remove the excuse, and the only thing left to edit is you. So the man shouting in traffic isn't angry. He was provoked. The one who procrastinates isn't avoidant. She works better under pressure. Your mind is less like a scientist and more like a very loyal lawyer. It doesn't ask what's true, it asks what defends the client. The client is you. Which means that clean, settled, obvious feeling of being right is not evidence that you are right. It's the sound of the defense resting its case. 3. You'd rather keep a certain pain than risk an uncertain one. Loss aversion. A loss lands harder than a gain of the same size. You'll hear a precise number attached that losses hurt exactly twice as much. Careful. The direction is solid. The multiplier depends on the person, the stakes, the day, real, but not a formula. The number was never the interesting part anyway. Your mind doesn't compare good against bad, it compares dated against undated. Run the accounting the way your mind runs it. Leaving the job costs you something on Tuesday, a hard conversation, an empty calendar, someone's face falling, concrete, scheduled, half-experienced already, just by imagining it. The better thing? No date, no detail, a blurry maybe filed in a year that hasn't happened. One of those is a bill, the other is a rumor. Your mind pays the rumor every time by refusing to move. That's the draining job. The relationship that ended emotionally 2 years ago, the city you've outgrown, you don't stay because you think they're good. You stay because they're scheduled. Like standing in a burning building and thinking, at least I know this building. 4. Most of your behavior isn't chosen, it's triggered. Rule 3 was the future you refuse to walk into. This one is the present you never noticed walking through. Not decisions. Habit, cue, routine, reward, running with nobody supervising. You don't decide to check your phone. You feel 2 seconds of boredom, and your hand is already moving. And here's the part people get wrong. We assume the reward is the pleasure at the end, the message, the interesting post. Watch closely. The relief arrives the moment you reach, before the screen has lit up. The craving is the discomfort. Picking it up is what ends it. Whatever's on the screen is almost beside the point. Which explains something otherwise baffling: how you scroll for 20 minutes, enjoy none of it, feel worse, and do it again an hour later. The loop was never selling you enjoyment, it was selling you an exit. So notice what the cue actually is, not the phone. The gap, the pause in the cue, the moment a conversation stalls, the second between finishing one thing and starting the next. The phone is just the nearest available answer. That's also why willpower keeps losing. Willpower is one tired employee who works about an hour a day and clocks out exactly when you need them, late at night, mid-argument, end of a long week. Habit is the machinery running the whole factory all night, whether anyone's watching or not. You've been trying to win this with the employee. The factory doesn't know there's a fight. And here's the uncomfortable one. You believe everyone else runs on these rules. You do not believe you do. The bias blind spot. And let me be careful, because a lot of psychology has been shakier than it looked, including some of what I've just described. Studies get repeated and come back smaller. Take the sizes loosely and the directions seriously. This one has held up unusually well. And you can test it on yourself right now without any study at all. Ask people whether others are swayed by social pressure, self-justification, fear of loss. Yes, obviously. Ask about themselves, and something shifts. Others are shaped by these forces. You just happen to have good reasons. It isn't a flaw in your character. It's structural. You have access to your own reasoning, so your choices feel reasoned. You only have access to other people's behavior, so their choices look driven. Which means the 4 rules above will feel, right now, like an excellent description of your friends. That feeling is the 5th rule, working perfectly. So what do you actually do? Move the cue, not the behavior. Not become more disciplined. That's asking the tired employee to work a double shift. And remember what the cue was, the gap. So don't just hide the phone, decide in advance what fills the pause. Something already in your hand when it arrives, a book on the arm of the chair. The gap is coming either way, and it will take whatever's nearest. You're not weak. You're standing downhill from something. Catch the sentence, not the feeling. Next time, defensiveness flashes, don't argue with it. Listen for what your mind produces immediately after. I only did that because... That's the lawyer standing up to speak. You don't have to fire the lawyer. Knowing it's a defense and not a fact is enough to break the spell. Put a date on the other side. If your mind only counts what's dated, stop letting the better things stay a rumor. Give it a day, a time, a first move. Not leave the job. One conversation, Thursday, one application, tonight, one evening spent trying the other thing. You're not gambling the building. You're opening one window to see what the air is like. None of this is about running yourself like a machine. It's about finally meeting the person who's been making your decisions this whole time and realizing they were never trying to sabotage you. They were trying to keep you safe with the only map they had. So, the wheel in your hands, it was never connected to much. But every time you catch the sentence before you believe it, every time you notice the gap instead of filling it, every time you put a date on the thing you've been calling impossible, a cable connects, quietly, one at a time. You don't get the whole car, nobody does. You just get to steer a little more than you did yesterday.